I'm back with session 2 on how to build the ultimate Airtable base for music law firms. If you haven't already watched session 1, I recommend you do so. Otherwise, let's get right into it. The first thing we're going to do is rearrange the database schema a little bit. You recall there was a time when I mentioned that people might have a direct relationship to matters, and that still remains true. There might, but I'm going to take that away for now because it didn't make its way into session 1. And for the time being, I'm going to use this space over here to add in an invoices table. Normally, you might think that one matter has one invoice, but in music law, you might be working on a handful of matters for a specific artist client, and then every so often, periodically, you invoice for them. So we're going to create a relationship with matters whereby that invoice could have many matters. Maybe you worked on a producer agreement, a sync licensing deal, and a publishing deal for one producer. And a month or two goes by and you want to invoice them for all of the work that you've done on all of those things. So you create an invoice that's linked to those 3 matters. Those 3 matters have total values. You apply your commission, you total it up, and boom, boom, boom. That's how that works. In this instance, the matters becomes like your invoice items. In order to do that, we're going to also need to create a relationship between invoices and artists. So when creating an invoice, the first thing you're going to do is link it to an artist. So you'll have a client's page, for instance, and you'll say, okay, add an invoice. And then maybe there'll be an automation that says, for this artist, go in and find all the matters that are outstanding, link them to this invoice, boom, 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 boom. And then you take the action to press the button, create the invoice, send it to your client, get paid, the whole thing. I'm also going to show you, because of this relationship, right? So we've got basically 2 connection points to the artist, one that goes through the matters table and one that goes directly there. You're going to be able to use a very powerful feature on Airtable called conditional linked records. So there's going to be an option to create a condition such that when you're in the invoices table and you're selecting the matters that be associated with that invoice, you only see options that are associated with this artist that haven't already been invoiced. And that creates the user experience that you're looking for. Let's get right into building the interface. And let's not worry about any of this stuff. We'll just call it interface for now. So the first page, let's just call it clients. Remember, clients live in the artist table. All right. Now, back in the data layer here, first let's put in some dummy information. I'm going to go back to the record label demo base and just grab 50 of the artist names or something like that. We're going to reuse these in this demo here. So let's say we've got these are artists. You recall we're going to delineate between which ones of these artists are our clients and which ones of them are not. So we'll say client status, and we'll have it be single select, and we'll say active or inactive, and then we'll say non-client maybe. So we'll take the first 10 here, we'll call them active. And then let's say these are non-client. Perfect. All right, back to the interface. This is an interface page that's looking into this table that we're talking about here. It's a list view. We're going to expose that name, and let's expose who the lawyer is, manager email. Those are really the only attributes that we have right now. But we want to create a filter. So back into the page view here, let's create this filter. And we'll say where client status is any of active or inactive, because these are clients that are either ours today or were ours in the past, and you still might want to be able to see the inactive ones. So it's active or inactive. Let's create some tabs here. The first tab you want to see are just all your active clients. And then you want to say that's where client status is active. Copy that, come back in here, and we'll call this inactive. And that is where client status is inactive. And then we'll call this all clients. Okay. And here you go. You've got the name of the client, a space for their lawyer and their manager email address, which comes through the roles table. And we can show you how that gets expressed in the detail screen in a second. I like to keep the row height super tight. That's a personal preference. I don't take away grouping, take away printing, add in some sorting here. Maybe we want to sort by alphabetical. And that's it. Now let's create a detail screen. So we clicked open. It says, do you want to allow users to open record details? Yes. We haven't already created record details, so let's just do so. This is really the only, besides the name of the artist itself, this is really the only field that we can edit. Matters, roles, and releases. These are all linked record fields. So we're not going to come at matters from this direction. We're not going to, at the moment, come at releases at all. Let's say this information can be displayed, sure, but doesn't have to be like that. And then this roles table, let's create this as a view. Now what that does is it takes that linked record and makes it into like a child table in the detail screen, which is what you're going to need. And then let's just show that person, the type, and then add a ability to create a new one via form. We'll call this add role. Nomenclature can be changed at any time. And it's going to know the artist that you're coming from because that's how Airtable works. But you're going to want to select the person and the type. And we'll make the person required and the type required. Remember, this is where you're basically going to say, like, who's the artist manager? Who's the artist himself? Who's the agent? Who's the lawyer? So we'll put that up next to it. And then we need to come back into the demo here. Let's go to contacts. Let's grab, I don't know, all of these, 96 different contacts. We'll put them in the people table for various reasons. So now we have a bunch of contacts to work with. So let's preview this for a quick second. If I wanted to add a role, I would say that Michael Wilcox is the agent. Great. Michael Wilcox is the agent, and we can just continue on down the line adding roles. So let's say Stacy Wiggins is the manager, and let's say David Harding is the lawyer. Very good. Now you see David Harding's name comes up. If we went to Stacy Higgins, let's allow for you to click into Stacy Higgins. Open a detail screen. We've got this person, Stacy Higgins. Let's make that allowing you to click into the contact details. So we'll have first, last, email. Now watch. I'm going to zoom out a little bit here and preview. Okay. Just to show you where we came from. So we're in the artist detail screen. We open up the role that Stacy Higgins is playing as manager. We click into Stacy Higgins, and now we can change her email address. And watch as I do so, it starts to populate here. So let's say Stacy at Wiggins Management.com. That's how that works. Contacts is another interface page that we want. So let's do another list view. And let's take all those people. We'll call them contacts. These are all the people that we just kind of populated in there. Let's get rid of first and last, get rid of roles, maybe email. Cool. Make this editable and give it a detail screen as well. Actually, the detail screen can be reused. So it's first and last in email. And then from this perspective, if you're coming in from the people or from the contacts page, you might want to see what roles this person is playing, in which case we can put another child table here and we'll say view, but this one will look a little different because it's going to have the name of the artist and then the type. Cool. So you come in here, John Smith Esquire, you see the role that they're playing there. And then Stacey Wiggins is the manager for Alfred Stark, and so on and so forth. All right. Now let's add the matters page. So we've done artist, done people, roles has been displayed in the detail screen of both artists and people. And now we're going to do matters. So let's say we have, I'd say another list view. Sure, let's see what happens. We'll call this matters. Matters is going to have the artist, not the interactions, the title, the type, and we can continue on adding things from there. So DJ James has a producer agreement. We're going to need a form to add more, get rid of group, get rid of print, add matter, and then we'll say edit the form. So we're going to want to select the artist that's required, interactions no, the title is required, and the type is required. I might put another field in here and call it like due date or something. It's probably useful, and maybe that's optional. Boom. Add that due date field to the list view here. And now we just need a detail screen that shows us the artist, the title, the type, the due date, and the interactions. Now this is the main thing I wanted to show you. Now you have an interactions table inside the detail screen of the matter, which allows you to track all of the things that you've done in order to get this deal through the hoop. Let's add some fields to the interactions. So the first one needs to be the date of the interaction. Okay. The type of interaction. Say it'll be a single line text field, then we can say email, and then phone, and then maybe meeting, and then other maybe. And then title. So the title of the interaction, the date, maybe put the date first, the type, matter, boom. Edit records in line, make it tight. And then let's do another form. Add records through a form. So we'll say log, we'll call this like log interaction or something. Now, while I do this, I'll explain there are ways to automatically log interactions. If that's interesting to you, I can make a video about it, but like if you're sending emails to people and you want those emails to just get logged as interactions, instead of sending an email, going into Airtable, typing out what the email was about and everything like that, it's possible. Let me know. So we're going to have the title, the date, and the date will default to today because I think that's the most common thing is you'll be logging something you just did. And then type, think we'll default type to email, although you can change it, but we'll make it required. And we'll just say log interaction. Boom. And here's what that looks like. We're going to publish this. We're in the matters table. You log an interaction. I spoke with the attorney and they said it will be in our hands next week or something. Whatever. You can say that was a phone call. Just say that happened like last 2 weeks ago or something. All right, let's tighten this up. I just realized there's something else we need here. Let's do this one from the interactions table. We need a like responsible party or something, or like we'll call it added by or something. And then this can be an automatically populated field. So you have an option to select who created, like which user of your Airtable system created that interaction. Presumably, I'm not creating interactions for somebody else. And if that's true, then this will work. So it says, you can see, I created this interaction simply by using the form. And then in the detail screen, you can display who it was added by. And we can also put that in the detail screen. Let's give it a quick primary field. Make it a formula. Paste the formula. Save. All right, very good. Okay, let's take this for a quick spin. So 2 weeks ago, somebody did this. Then we can say received red line back or something like that on email. And that was the week after that. Boom. We want to put a sort on this. So we'll sort by date in kind of reverse chronological order. Add another one. We'll say agreement signed by client. And that happened yesterday or Friday. And now you've got this running list of all of the things that have happened to get this deal done or this matter closed or whatever. And you see who's done them. Becomes very useful when working collaboratively with teams. But in doing all that, I realized we were missing a status. So like a matter is going to have a status. And that status is going to be open in progress and then completed and then maybe invoiced and then maybe paid. And these last two, the invoiced and paid, can become like automated to the extent that they get added to an invoice. That invoice goes out, status will be changed to invoiced. When it gets paid, status will be changed to paid. But nonetheless, you need a place for this information to exist. We'll have this field default to open. We'll make this open. And let's add that status field to the form. So we'll say add matter. All right, fantastic. Let's add an invoices page, connect it to the matters and the artists like we talked about in the beginning, and then wrap this video up. Back into the base. Remember, we have to now make the relationship between matters and artists. Let's have an invoices table. Call it invoices. Save. What did we say that one of the fields was going to be matters? So one invoice has many matters. but one matter only has one invoice. So we're going to uncheck this, allow linking to multiple. And then change the name of this to matters. And then we're going to do another linked record back into the artist. And we'll link to the artist. Allow linking to multiple. No. And then from the artist table, one artist can have many invoices. Perfect. All right. And yes, we need an invoices table, but let's make it first that you're adding your invoices in the detail screen of the artist page. So back to the artist page, the detail screen. Let's change this to clients before I forget. Roles, and then let's put another group for invoices. Give it a nice title. Child table. Fields are going to be, well, yeah, status. Let's add a field called date. Honestly, that might be all we need. Date and status, and then notes inside. Again, add record through form. Add invoice. Date. Status. By default is going to be open, submitted, paid, or something like that. And by default, it'll be open. Make that required. Make that required. Add invoice. And then notes. Publish. Boom. We're going to get those matters to show up here also. Let's do it right in the middle. Matters. Edit in line. Give this a date also. All right, so we've got these two matters. Add a matter through the form. So I need to add a different matter form because that matter form needs to remain the same. So I'll say add artist matter. Title, type, due date, status, perfect. Publish. All right. Invoices, add an invoice. So we've got these two matters. Getting ahead of myself here. What do we need here? We need a field in the matters table that tells us like the value or something like that. Now, when I say that, I'm going to mean that it's like the value to the client. Of course, if we're a music law firm, we have our commission rate, but the value to the client, let's say this one, producer agreement is 10,000, sync license, they're going to get 50,000. And then we have an invoice that we're going to create. Now, this invoice doesn't have any matters yet. So I'm going to show you a manual way to add matters. So say link on link, artist, notes, invoice needs a formula. So pre-written, paste it in. Boom. There we go. We've got that. And now the question becomes, which matters are part of the invoice? Or are you going to associate with that invoice? And we're going to make the matters a list view. With the title, the status, the type, the value. Sure. And instead of this button being add records through a form, it's link unlink records. So which means when you press it, you see all the matters. Now for illustration purposes, I want to go in here and create a couple new matters. So let's say Angel has a matter and it's called Lorem Ipsum Dolor, and it is a recording agreement. And we're going to try to close it before this day. Great. And then let's say Calvin Cotton has a matter, and it's also called Lorem Ipsum Dolor. And it's going to be a side artist agreement with this day. Create. So now in the matters table, there are 4 matters, 2 of them for DJ James, 1 of them for Angel, 1 of them for Calvin Cotton. Now, when we're in the clients table and we're selecting DJ James and we want to add an invoice, we only want to see the matters that are linked to this specific client. So come back into the base, go to the invoices table, double click the matters, filter record by condition. And the condition is where artist has any of artist. Confirm change. And now when you come back here, you only see DJ James related stuff. And we're going to select them both. We're going to end it there. In the next video, I'm going to show you how with a click of a button, you're going to have a invoice created with each of these matters as a line item with your commission properly calculated and addressed to the representative of the artist who handles invoices. And if you want, we could take it one step further from there to change status again, and have that invoice be automatically sent out to the client for payment. Thanks a lot. See you in the next one.